Hey guys, what's up? Amir Ryder here. I'm with Ian Brigden. He is the CEO and co-founder of the PointCo, a top sales agency that executes lead gen for a lot of companies in the UK and worldwide. Ian, what's up? How are you?
All good, thank you. Nice to see you again, Amir. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So we're here to talk about your listing. Boost your cybersecurity leads with the PointCo, trusted by Alto networks for proven results. I'm a big fan of the work you guys did for one of the bigger cybersecurity companies in the UK, and I wanted to dive in super deep into cybersecurity and cybersecurity lead gen and help other buyers of lead gen services in cyber. I don't know if you knew this, but there are 130 publicly traded companies in cybersecurity, and that's looking to boom. And you helped the number one leader in the space.
That's right.
So we got to talk about this. So focusing in on that success story of Palo Alto Networks, could you share some specific examples of how you helped them with their lead generation goals and what measurable results you achieved for Palo Alto Networks, and maybe talking about what other cybersecurities that are checking out your listing for cyber could expect?
Yeah, of course. So Palo Alto Networks was actually my second ever customer. So kind of luckily in the right place at the right time when I left my previous role and set up the PointCo. A guy that I'd known was just about to join Palo Alto Networks as the first man in for the UK and Ireland. So as he joined Palo, he was gracious enough to get us involved, even though we were a new company, just really trying to help them penetrate the market in the UK. So we started with a batch of meetings just to help them stimulate the market, get in touch with some channel partners. From that, it then kind of grew quite rapidly. So at one point, we were doing about 100 meetings a month for them. It then grew out to supporting them in the French market, the German market, the Middle Eastern market. And they were one of the biggest success stories in the cyber market to date at that point. So they obviously exploded. We were in the right place at the right time. We were supporting them. We helped them build a channel. So we got involved with their distribution partners, their resellers. And on the back of that, that's where we really developed our footprint in the cybersecurity space. So that led on to also working with people like FireEye when they first came to the UK, Logarithm, Mimecast. But Palo was the biggest success story for us. We helped them for about 5 years. Obviously, they eventuated in an IPO. A lot of people making a lot of money. And they did end up taking it in-house and building a call center in the Netherlands. But I'm still actually working with that guy that was the first man in at Palo Alto Networks now. I think he's on his fourth startup. So he tends to go from one startup to the next. And we're still working with him 15 years later.
It's awesome. So I would state that you got lucky, that they got lucky they found you because there was no listing, right, for cybersecurity. The idea here is that other people don't need to get lucky when it comes to finding the PointCo for cybersecurity. And if I'm hearing you correctly, the pain point they had when they found you was it was market validation of a new market and lead gen, right? So it was to generate leads. But ultimately, in the beginning of that 5-year relation, it was probably market validation, right? So you were able to help them with obviously their messaging, their target audience, right? You mentioned they generated about 100 meetings. Is that over a 6-month period, 1 month period, year period?
1 month period. So
wow.
We started, I think, with about 30 meetings just to get going, and then it quickly turned into 100 meetings a month. And that was supporting them, supporting their channel partners, and taking their product to market as much as possible.
Did you overachieve their expectations? Like when they hired you at first, where they're like, hey, we're looking for a partner to help us land in this new country. We don't really have crazy expectations. Or did they have expectations that you met and beat? What was their initial, what were they looking to measure you guys on?
Well, it was obviously results. It was all based on results. They were an ideal fit for us because they understood what it took to break into a new market. They were looking to invest in a new market, invest in marketing, exhibitions, and lead gen. There was a bit of hesitation from my contacts peers with regard to working with a new company like ourselves, but we quickly proved that it was the right choice, got the meetings delivered, and then grew a team to support them specifically. I think it took them about 9 months to get their first deal from the meetings we generated, but the first deal was with Investec Bank, so a big global deal. That led on to deals with Boots, GlaxoSmithKline, and like I said, it helped them build a channel as well, and the channel partners started engaging with us to help support it even further.
Yeah, you kind of threw out some smoke signals there that the first deal was a big deal. Was that first deal a big enough deal to pay for the whole
Oh yeah,
engagement?
And we worked with them for about 5 years, to be honest. It was a 6-figure deal at least, which then grew into a global deal as well. So, and the other one, it was all kind of enterprise based to start with. So it was targeting large organizations that had the right buying power to invest in a new technology like theirs, but they were doing something completely different in the market. So they really stood out. They had the right messaging, the right product, and obviously, hopefully the right partner in us to help them take it to market.
Well, let's talk a little bit deeper about targeting and strategy, right? Like how did the PointCo tailor its lead generation strategy specifically for cybersecurity, selling? Talk to me about criteria, methodologies. What did you use to identify and qualify the right leads within cybersecurity industry? Was it something that you guys you can answer that, but it's definitely.
Well, it was all about the data, making sure we had the right data. So we had to make quite a lot of investments in getting the right data built. It was quite an interesting campaign because they were doing something completely differently. So they were solving a pain that nobody knew they could solve, and they were the first company to ever do that. So rather than ringing somebody up about something that they've already paid for or they're already doing, it was really educating the end users as well as the market about their product and addressing the need that they needed to solve. And because of the way that was positioned, it was really looking for anybody that had a security budget, not just a firewall budget, an IDS budget, an IPS budget, etc. So they could go in and demonstrate why their tool could, do better things than what they were already using, and take budget from different areas of the cybersecurity spend to allocate towards their solution. And they did push a lot of POCs as well, so proof of concept. So the view being that once they put it in, they won't take it out, and that was a really successful methodology for them as well.
Makes sense. Any specific data providers that you guys worked with for these cyber content that you want to mention, or is that proprietary? Totally fine, either of it is. Just
to be honest, back then we were relatively new ourselves, so we were building the data ourselves using LinkedIn. Kind of had a data team scrolling the internet to build the data. I think the first data house we worked with was Discover.org, which then broke into Zoom Info. But we now use 6 Sense, Cognizant, LinkedIn Sales Nav, and any other data tool that we can get our hands on, really, because that's really the gold mine to help us be successful.
Yeah. So when someone visits your listing, right, and visits the cybersecurity listing specifically, would you say that one of your unique selling propositions is the data you've collected and the proprietary data you have on cybersecurity buyers? Are new buyers, new cybersecurity companies that might want to, hit some of the same results as Palo Alto Networks? Are you guys able to leverage the data that you worked for the years that they hired you and other agencies?
Yeah, definitely. So probably for the first 5 to 8 years of our expansion, we were predominantly focused solely in the cybersecurity market. So all of our processes, our methodology, our knowledge, our data is all very strong in that space. The number of mobile numbers we've got is obviously the highest in the cyber market, and the data we have globally, because we work with companies globally now on cyber products. We do a lot of work with Israeli startups that are looking to break into the UK and US markets and helping them launch based upon that methodology that we built out of working with Palo Alto Networks.
Yeah, you bring up Israel. Israel's just big on cyber, right? I think they have a lot of cybersecurity companies, right? Awesome. Talk to me about just the industry challenges, right? Like, what are the common challenges cybersecurity companies face in lead generation? And then you can maybe chat about how you guys address that. And then, how does PointCo stay ahead of the emerging trends and threats in cybersecurity landscape when it comes to, obviously competition and things like that? Like, what does that look like? What's the common denominator that every cybersecurity faces as a challenge?
I think it's making sure that they're willing to invest in the market. I think I had a conversation with my contact from Palo not long into the embarking, and working with them. I think they spent $1 million in marketing alone in the UK market for their first year of expansion, but their expectation was to get a $10 return for every dollar spent. So they were aggressively at events, doing marketing campaigns, doing webinars, seminars, lead gen, etc. So it's really important to understand that there's a need to invest in a market, because I do sometimes find companies that are unwilling to invest. They don't get as much traction as they would like. The market's a lot more saturated than it used to be, so there's a lot of different cybersecurity vendors now, more so than ever, I would say. So it's really having the right message and being able to articulate how you differentiate yourselves around the rest of the noise that's in the market. And that's something that we're constantly monitoring as well. We were at InfoSec last week as a team, walking around, talking to people on stands, getting up to date with what technology is coming out, as well as, like I said, having my contacts in Israel that I talk to regularly about new trends, new products, where the market's heading.
Yeah, so just overall, it's kind of interesting because the biggest challenge in the industry is the big guys you helped, right? It's companies that are, they're competing for eyeballs, they're competing for attention, they're competing for budget. So a big challenge just would be market awareness of your brand, right? So one of the things you've observed that cybersecurity companies need to, or can, or have an opportunity to invest more into branding, PR, advertisement, and just to get the brand out, right? Which makes a lot of sense. So, obviously, one company's huge success can become other companies, pain point, which makes sense. So I definitely think that's great and helpful. And for anybody listening, I think that I know that PointCo really leverages the phone for the IT leaders in cyber. So, just to tie it into the service, companies that, are looking at this listing, they should also take into account that the more somebody's aware of your brand, the easier it would be for someone to convert on a phone call, right? The same way that if you were watching this and you're a cybersecurity leader, right? And then we call you, or they call you, you probably would be a little more familiar with the PointCo and CloudTask Marketplace, right? So just kind of getting that awareness would be a big thing, and just in general, high levels of competition in that network, right, would be something that you would be a watch out for anybody in cyber. Awesome.
That's it, yeah.
Talk to me about just integration and tools when it comes to cybersecurity. Is there anything specific that you guys are using? Any specific channel? Where like what could they typically expect? They click your listing. They know that you're super focused cybersecurity. When it comes to like integration and tools, what does that typically look like for clients in cyber?
So obviously the advantage being our experience in cyber, so our data being so strong and our knowledge and processes for supporting cyber companies. But on top of that, we now have things like 6sense for intent data, Cognizant for global data, particularly strong in EMEA. We've got LinkedIn Sales Nav and LinkedIn automation tools. We do email cadences. We have a content team to support new and emerging techs who don't necessarily always have a marketing person in-house. We've got Lucia for finding mobile numbers. Pretty much invested in most of the world's leading tools to support the SDR function, with a view to our customers not having to make that investment, because some of them are quite expensive tools. So we've got 85 guys on the phone every day using those tools, so we're offsetting that cost, and the customers get the benefit of using them, using our processes, understanding our experiences and methodologies, and they don't have to make that investment themselves, and we just manage it all for them.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm familiar with the investments that you guys make. All right, last question. Make pretend I'm a buyer and I'm a cybersecurity leader, CEO, VP sales, chief marketing officer. I see the listing, boost your cybersecurity leads to PointCo. I know Palo Alto networks, and my confidence is in, right? I want to talk to you guys. I want to interview you guys. What could key performance indicators should clients expect to monitor? And, from a benchmark perspective, what does success look like for a cybersecurity company typically that is, running a campaign with you guys?
It depends on where they are in their life cycle. So if it's new and emerging tech, it's, improving brand awareness, market validation, talking to end users about their product. Obviously, if they're further down that maturity, then it's really about opportunities. So we tend to get drawn into a lot of conversation around cost per lead, how many meetings. Well, actually, what we try and do is look at what the client's objectives are, what are their sales targets, what are their revenue targets, and then we look to implement the people, the data, and the technologies to support that. So our key success metrics is the client being successful, and then hopefully we'll be more successful because we'll do more work with them and go into other regions and expand further with them as they develop.
That makes sense. It's also making me think that we need 3 listings for cybersecurity. We need startup, mid-market, and enterprise, right? Because you measure them differently.
Definitely, yeah.
Ian, this has been awesome. Anybody who's listening out there who's looking for support when it comes to lead generation, cybersecurity, I invite you guys to visit the PointCo's listings along with other people. Of course, Ian, just in general, if the people want to contact you, follow you, learn more about cyber, where can they do that, and how can they stay in touch?
LinkedIn. I'm on there doing publications and stuff on LinkedIn, so that's usually the best place to find us, or via our website. And drop us a line if you need any help.
Anybody watching this, thank you for this checking out the service listing. We're hyper focused on cybersecurity. It's cybersecurity month. Ian, I appreciate you, man. I'll let you go.